Welcome to Failure to Stop, the #1 show where police meets society and culture. Today we're talking about the 5 tips that will make you a really good cop. And if you're already a cop, this will make you a better cop. If you like the content, if you like today's content, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And if you want more of it, head over to failuretostop.com where you can have access to merch, our podcast, blogs, and all the other things. Well, let's dive into today's topic, which is the 5 things that you need to know to be a really good cop. And these are the things that the academy are not going to tell you, because this is the raw truth about being a real police officer, and the truth can hurt. And so they're going to leave this out. So I'm going to give it to you. I'm giving you a free gift today. Rule #1, self-awareness. I can't stress it enough, man. You got to be self-aware. You have to be good at self-awareness if you're going to be a good cop, because nobody's going to take you seriously, and you can't enforce the law if everybody's being blown away by your bad breath, or if nobody can take you seriously when you have the sweat rings up underneath your armpits, the big yellow blotches. You know what I'm talking about. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to deal with it. You got to be self-aware enough to know that, hey, I should probably freshen up my breath every 2 hours. Hey, when I look in the mirror and I see those disgusting yellow stains in my armpit saying I should have another uniform shirt so that I can change. If self-awareness is something new to you and it's something that you've struggled with in the past, let me give you a quick tip, a quick hint on how to be better at it. Go talk to your friends and your squad mates. They're not going to lie to you. When you say, hey man, real quick, how's my radio traffic? And your friend might reply back, it could be shorter. Take that as a mental note. It needs to be a lot shorter. He's being nice to you. Or you could say, hey man, at lunchtime when I get there, everybody seems to kind of get up and go away. Why is that? One, because you eat tuna fish every day and it stinks, and you've got big giant sweat rings all around your shirt, and it's kind of unbearable. Nobody wants to be in the squad room when you're in there. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I'll fix those things. So self-awareness, if you want to be a good cop, you got to have good self-awareness. #2, you have to have a good police presence. You need to always look like a cop when you're a cop. And I'm not saying you have to shine your breasts and shine your shoes and do all the things that they tell you to do in the academy to look like a good cop. But no, you need to look like you're a fast cop. You need to look like you have the confidence that you do, in fact, know the law. When I was serving in special operations, there was an instructor. He once told me, he said, rule #1 to being a good operator is you should always look cool. Rule #2 is you should always know where you are at. And rule #3, if you don't know where you're at, look cool and pretend like you know where you're at. And that can apply to being a really good police officer. You should always look like you know what you're doing. You should always look like you have the confidence in what you know what you're doing. If you look like a cop, if you look like you're fast, if you look like you can fight, then chances are those suspects aren't going to run from you, or they're not going to try anything with you. They're going to listen and obey you. If you're meek, if you're timid, you're going to go nowhere. So having a good haircut, having shoes on that look like you can run fast in them, all right? Not having the baggy pants or the slouching gun belt. If you look like Gomer Pyle, people are going to treat you, including suspects, are going to treat you like Gomer Pyle. With this presence comes my #3 things, which is having confidence in knowing what you're doing. And you can't be confident. You can't have a good presence if you don't know what you're doing. So you have to know the law first and foremost. Know the law. Know when you can put your hands on somebody and when you can't. And be confident in your knowledge of the law. When you can chase somebody into a building and you can't. Know your policy so that you can be confident. If you're chasing somebody and you don't know if you should or should not be chasing them, then how can you be effective at chasing them? No, there's too many things going on. You need to be focused on winning all the time. And so the one less thing to worry about is the law or the policy. If you already know that, then all you do have to think about is catching that guy. With confidence, to be confident to catch somebody or to arrest somebody, you need to be confident that when you put your hands on somebody, that you can do it and when. So you need to be confident in your skills as a fighter. I'm not telling you to go and roll in jiu-jitsu. If you can, go do it. I'm not telling you have to, but what I am saying is what I'm suggesting, giving you another little hint here, is that just like CrossFitters, if you need to get in shape, there's always one guy on the squad that can't shut up about CrossFit or can't shut up about his diet or how he got in shape. Go find that guy and ask him to help you get in shape. There's nothing more in the world at that time that he wants to do than to help you get in shape. Same thing goes with a fighter. There's always somebody on a squad that's obsessed with jiu-jitsu or just got his blue belt and can't stop putting pictures online about it. Go to that guy and say, hey, will you work with me every Wednesday before shift 1 hour and help me so that I can have the confidence and putting somebody in handcuffs without having to pull my baton out and beat the brakes off of them, which is going to lead to less complaints, which is going to lead to less uses of force, which makes you a better officer. So having the confidence and your ability to effect an arrest. Now, number 3 and a caveat to that, into being a good fighter and being knowledgeable of the law, you have to also be a good shooter. Okay, I know we don't use our guns a lot, but it's just like a pitcher. If a pitcher's going to go over to the plate and throw a strike, he's got to throw a couple of throws a week to be able to confidently get up on the mound and throw a strike. Also, I'm not sure I'm getting in the batter box with somebody who hasn't thrown the ball in a year because I don't want to get beamed in the head with the ball. Civilians don't want to be walking the streets knowing that the last time you shot was your last qualification, which was like 6 months ago. You should be doing your dry fires every week, and I would suggest that you shoot every other week, if not 5 or 10 rounds, just to make sure that you're proficient and you remain proficient. In case you ever have to use your gun, you have the confidence that you're going to win that gun battle. After confidence, number 4, safety. If you're going to be a good cop, you got to be safe. Nobody outranks general safety. My grandfather-in-law, every time we do something, go out on the boat or do something at the lake house, he'd always say, if you just stop and you say these words, T-H-I-N-K, think, S-A-F-E-T-Y, safety, safety, safety. If you run that little speech in your head before you do anything, you won't have any accidents. And what he means by that is before you go and jump off of the boat, say to yourself, T-H-I-N-K, think, S-A-F-E-T-Y, safety, safety, safety. Okay, I should probably check the depth finder, make sure that we're not at low tide. Should also make sure that the engine's cut to idle so I don't get chopped up by the propeller when I'm getting up on the ladder. Oh, and by the way, I should probably put the ladder down in the water before I jump off this boat. So instead of just willy-nilly jumping off the boat, T-H-I-N-K, think, S-A-F-E-T-Y, safety, safety, safety. Before you do any police interaction, before you pull any car over, before you do anything, you should say to yourself, stop, and go, T-H-I-N-K, think, S-A-F-E-T-Y, safety, safety, safety. Just in that time, your brain will subliminally start going over all the checklists that you need to do to do whatever you're doing safely. Can't be a good cop if you're a dead cop or an injured cop. And last but not least, to be a good cop, you have to be a good critical thinker. And I know in today's society, a lot of you younger people aren't really taught critical thinking skills as much as maybe some of the older officers. Or at least they're going to haze you and tease you about it. But you got to be a critical thinker. You've got to know to look outside of the box. Critical thinking means that taking all these things that I just talked about and thinking about them makes you a critical thinker. Thinking about self-awareness and how to be better, how to be more proficient at keeping your breath clean during the week. Maybe it's as simple as I'm in a bad mood. I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm in a bad mood every time I get to work, but I'm going to critically think my way through this. And okay, what the problem is I'm always flustered. I always leave my house too late. I get caught in traffic. I'm having to speed to get here. I get into the locker room. It's a nightmare trying to get my uniform on. I'm often forgetting things. And so by the time I get to roll call, I am a hot mess and I'm in a bad mood. So maybe we critically think our way through that and developing a routine. Okay, 1 hour before I go to work, I'm going to make myself a cup of hot tea. And then I'm going to get to work and I'm going to have a routine. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down and putting my uniform down, going through a checklist, making sure I don't forget anything. And I'm going to be 30 minutes to roll call no matter what. So if I got to leave my house 30 minutes earlier to not get stuck in traffic, and then I'm going to start having a good day. But we have now been self-aware and critically thought how to be a good officer. It's always about critical thinking. And that critical thinking is going to pour over into the actual job. Critical thinking is when you're talking to a suspect and that suspect keeps looking over his right shoulder. Keeps looking over that right shoulder and then he bends down and he tightens up his shoes. A good critical thinking, a good cop that's situationally aware, who's constantly T-H-I-N-K, thinking. He's self-aware enough to know that, hey, the guy's going to run and he's going to break hard to his right. And I'm going to critically think I can chase him down. I've got the confidence to chase him down because I do cardio. And I know that when I catch him, I've been doing my jiu-jitsu, so I know I can get him in handcuffs. But let me go one step further and fix all of that right now and say, hey, homeboy, don't run from me. Not today. I've already got a canine officer who's actually coming up from that road right over there. And that guy's going to go like, oh, damn, glad he said that because I was about to run that direction. But it's critically thinking. So to be a good cop, if you want to be a good cop, you've got to be self-aware, hands down. You got to have a presence. You got to look like a cop. Number 3, you got to have the confidence and that your ability to do the job. And number 4, you've got to be safe, baby. Got to be safe. And 5, be a critical thinker. I hope these things helped you out, guys. I'd love to see you out in the street. I'm no longer a police officer, so I know I'm going to be doing the right thing. I hope to see you doing the right thing too. For more like this, join us every week on our podcast, 4 days a week, and follow and subscribe our YouTube channel. As always, guys, guns up, giddy up. Until next time, cheers.